And I'm going to ask what I said again last week. Let us be the drivers of what we want to see from the next person. We can occupy Milimani law courts tomorrow and move from there and occupy parliament. We can occupy the county assemblies. We can occupy the constituency development fund offices. We can occupy the individual offices of the MCAs and members of parliament. The moment we do that, and this is where social media becomes crucial, let that spread all over. Let us occupy the churches. Why are we allowing these dealers, these thieves to come to churches and desecrate our churches and our places of worship and mosques and the temples? We need to occupy. I want us, like I said, I am not calling on anybody to become a terrorist, but I am calling on all of us to adopt the mindset of a terrorist because of the military precision with which they operate. Because that is what we are missing. Let us make it impossible for these people to operate. We know where they live. We know where they take their tea. We know where they meet to cut their deals. Why are we not coming out and mobilizing our people to say, look, Moses Wetangula, an audio clip of you came out in the course of the week, and we feel that that is against the person occupying the office of the Speaker of the National Assembly. Whether or not that is true, we need you to step aside and be held accountable. Moses Wetangula should not be allowed to be taking tea at Serena. Or the people of Bungoma should be mobilized to waylay him and make him to resign. The Kenyan people, we saw the Michuki spirit in the NAC era in 2003. Kenyans were arresting police officers. People who are corrupt were forced to resign. If they are not willing to do it, can we force them to do it? Kagame did it in Rwanda. That you are forced, you will be given a pen and a paper, and you sign that resignation and hand it in and walk home. Can our people do that? Can't our people do that? What gives these members of parliament, these corrupt, these thieves, where do they get this power to come to the village and continue to treat Kenyan people with so much contempt and even showing them the middle finger? Can we force one member of parliament to resign at a matanga that he comes? And you call Kurunzi and everybody, we cover that. Send it, make it viral. That an MP or an MCA or a CS has been forced to resign by the people at a public event because they are always attending these events. That way the message will be home. And that is the point. I think that is where we are right now, good people. It is the small things that we do that are going to make a difference. Mobilize yourselves. The Nyumba Kumi initiative that was talked about. Let us use it. Let it not be used by chiefs to spy on our people. We can use it kuweka vifuli kwa hizo ofisi za hawa watu. We can use the Nyumba Kumi initiative as a concept to model how we will force those governors out of office by shutting them out of the office and saying, enough is enough. I've been talking about how disrespectful it is for William Ruto to tell the Kenyan people that enough is enough. Which employee tells the employer enough is enough and continues to keeps their job? Who? Who? Why are we allowing it? Why are we allowing them to abuse us, to insult us? This is the time for us to say enough is enough. And the small things from the lowest level is what will pass a strong message when we start forcing them to do those things. I want to tell you this, that where I come from in Nyamira and where I live in Embakasi East, we are going to mobilize our people, apo, to make those people at our level. And as far as tomorrow is concerned, let us know, Fabish, we need to know what exactly we are looking for, how many people we want, how many people want to come, are willing. We can mobilize and make it possible for our people to occupy. As we speak, I am scratching my head how my team at Kurunzi and Anthony, this is something important because we had a discussion about it. How we are going to make sure that the compromised quote unquote mainstream media will not give give a falsified narrative of what happens tomorrow. So I am working my head right now trying to deploy resources in terms of the human personnel and the capacity to be able to cover the proceedings in court tomorrow. We want to know which of our people are desiring to come and they are unable, or what exactly do we need to do? I have seen, and this is the time I want to, as I land, I want to make a call to action. We see what Morara is doing. Amazing job. He was in is it in Kilifi, where he was talking about a project that Ruto said is employing 200 people every day. A whole president is proud to tell us, yet that project has not taken off. Murara was there. Can we create a structure where now we start reaching out to all other formations that are similarly objected, similarly missioned? We start reaching out to them and saying, hey, let us now caucus. Because if there are people who are continuing to speak about these things even now, those are people who appreciate that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And therefore, we need to start pulling together. We need to start caucusing from the lowest level all the way up. so that all our efforts can begin to look synchronized and harmonized, so that we can go back to making sure that the resources that we have are prudently deployed and there is no duplication in whatever we are doing. And such that everybody is able to do that which they can deliver best to the cause of the revolution. So that if Milton, I am a media person and that is where I thrive, we can be able to say that everything to do with that, let us have this as a main strategy, and we have a fallback and up to plan C and D. And if, Anthony, you're good with this, Fabish, this is what you do best, we do that kind of mobilization. So that as soon as next month, William Ruto will not be going to Mombasa to enjoy the Christmas period after Jamhuri Day. And that even Jamhuri Day will happen, and the Kenyan people, the same way, and I want to pose this as a challenge, the same way that the state mobilizes people to come for the national holidays, we are going to mobilize our people to attend those holidays, those events. So that when William Ruto is speaking and they are telling lies, we will have the national flag and the white handkerchiefs, and people will have passed their message that we no longer have the confidence. In fact, we can have that as a plan and say William Ruto will not address Kenyans on the day we celebrate our independence because he has taken our independence away. We can begin to mobilize the country to say that no county commissioner is going to read the presidential speech by William Ruto on a day we are celebrating our independence because we are no longer independent. That the self-rule and governance that our forefathers bequeathed subsequent generations has been taken away by this leadership and this regime. And therefore, they have no moral authority to address us on the day as important as we celebrating our independence from the colonialists and colonial masters, because today they are not working for us, they are working for our masters to enslave us in our own country. Enslaving us by making it impossible for us to afford basics, for us to have access to an education. They are making it impossible for us to access healthcare, which is a fundamental right. They are not allowed to address the great people of Kenya on a day marking independence from the shackles of slavery when they are enslaving us in our own country 60 plus years after independence. And we have to be able to rise up and say, we are not waiting for the America and the West to tell off William Ruto and his people because they have their own countries to take care of. We as a people will rise and say, this is our country. You will govern how we want you to govern and not how you want us to be governed. That we are the boss and we are the employer, and when we get tired, when we fire you, we have the power, we have the right to hire and fire, and you stand fired. That is what I would want us to see. And if this space can be able to come up with that kind of call to action, then we will make progress. And the last call I want to make is this. As I land, please, if you know of anybody that has a radio or TV frequency that they are not using, or you know of someone that has a radio or TV frequency and they are struggling to run the business, please reach out. We may not have the billions because we have not stolen, but I believe that we can mobilize ourselves using this space and others to create an investment in media business and an operation that is going to support this movement and make it everything we want. I do not have that kind of money, but I am reaching out and saying, if you know a media entity that is struggling and that would be open to a structure that allows people to invest in it and for it to support this revolution, please reach out so that we begin to make real progress in holding William Ruto and his cartel accountable. And we are not holding them accountable to continue staying in office. We are holding them accountable by running them out of town and holding a trial and sending them to jail. Let us not make our country the mockery that it has become already. This is the time for us to stand up and say, enough is enough. Good people, I don't want to raise my tempers beyond where they are right now, because I can speak and speak and speak. I want to land at that point. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. If you have any concerns, if you need anything, please feel free so that we put our heads together and begin to substantively make the wheels of justice on behalf of our country, for the sake of our children and our children's children and their grandchildren, for their future to be bright. Let us continue speaking. Lastly, comrades, some may think that this is just a wasted space where we come and rant and rant and rant, but that is not true. The correct position is that we continue speaking, we continue agitating, and as long as we are talking, someone would listen. And even the walls have ears. And like I said, even a broken clock is right once a day. And I am looking for that once a day to come, that our broken country will get it right and our people will stand and joyfully celebrate the fruits of their expectations and the labor and their resilience. Thank you, comrades. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Milton, for that powerful presentation. I think I agree